welcome back to Free Blonding Education. My name is Micah Beasley, Mains by Micah on Instagram. I have another free blonding tutorial for you guys today. I have one of my clients coming in who actually wears extensions. So I'm going to show you guys how I do my typical blonding maintenance, but with somebody who has extensions. Typically, I do her move up first. We're going to look at the extensions, see if they need a root refresh. Once we move her extensions up, then we're going to go in and we are going to do all of the foil work. Typically, she is a really bright, no root blonde. Come along with me for an extension move up and a blonding maintenance. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get color mixed up. We made the Super Blonde 9 from O&M, 20 grams, 10 grams of the paint powder from O&M. Go ahead and mix up for her root refresh on her extension. I feel like I struggled a lot at first rooting extensions whenever I was using like Shades EQ. I used Agora color a long time on the extensions. I felt like the Agora went way too dark on the extensions. I felt like Shades EQ always pulled full tone or like mauve-y, like purpley. I felt like it was an uphill battle to try to formulate on blonde extensions to get a really good root color on them. However, with O&M, I finally cracked the code. I have my perfect like root formula. When you look at the color wheel here for O&M, the W ends are kind of right here in the middle. But they're going a little bit more towards the warmer side. If you want to add a little bit more warmth in there, you can add in a 0.3, which is obviously the gold. But I'm gonna mix the 8WN with just like a little bit of the 9O, just because I don't want the 8WN to grab too dark. For our foils today, we're using the new House of Foils, their Valentine's collection. Love the bigger foils. These are perfect when you're foiling the Mohawk section because they're a little bit wider. I like the bigger one for foiling the Mohawk section, and those little hairs on the corners aren't gonna like slip out. I'll probably still use just like around the hairline a little bit on her sides and just kind of do a mix of both. Use code Micah Beasley for money off on House of Foils. We're gonna get all this mixed up and we're gonna get her all foiled, and she's gonna be so blonde and so pretty.
All right, here is her before on her color. Her color still looks so good, so I'm just going to do kind of what I call my mini partial. And I'm really only doing this on extension clients because those extensions kind of create a veil over the sides of lightness. So I don't really have to go in under the extensions and do a bunch of foils every single time because that extension piece would cover like the potential dark hole. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going in that Mohawk section and I'm packing Mohawk section like normal, doing my Slavey lights, which my Slavey light is a mixture between a slice and a baby light. It's just a little bounce of your comb. And remember, it is very easy in this Mohawk section to get bleeders, especially when your client doesn't have a whole lot of grow out. So what we're going to do to make sure that we don't get those bleeders is we're not just putting a bunch of that product at the very top of the root. We're placing the product and then slowly working its way up. And then when we close the foil, we want to make sure everything is zip locked in. All that lightener is zip locked in. You don't want any lightener seeping out of the foil. If it is, you can kind of take the bottom of the foil where you did the fold and kind of push it up just to make sure that you're not going to get any lightener trying to peek out of that foil, because that would create bleed lines and then that would defeat the purpose of doing no root. So here we are, now we are moving on to that front section. Basically, like once I can't reach anymore from those back sections is when I move up to the front, and I switched back to the smaller foils just because the big foils would be a little bit too heavy right here for the hairline pieces. So I'm just going to use those smaller foils. I've even in the past like torn even smaller pieces of foils to use just so it wasn't as heavy, but I've kind of mastered the art of getting my foils to stay without slipping, without giving me bleeders, because I stand here and I do this 4 or 5 times a day, 5 days a week. So practice makes perfect. But yeah, so we're just going to keep on going up. I ended up switching back to the bigger foils once my sections got a little bit bigger and I wasn't working around the hairline anymore. And then now we're going to section out our veil. So see that little veil piece that I left there at the top? You want your veil to be the same size as what's left out in between the other foils. And then now I'm going up the sides, and this is where my mini partial is coming into play, because I'm just going to go up the sides until I meet with her extensions, and then I'm going to leave everything else. So I think altogether I maybe did like 5 or 6 foils around the side, and then you can kind of, like I kind of laid the hair down to see if I wanted to keep going or to stop. But yep, so there is my mini partial foil. Now I'm going in and rooting my extensions with that root formula. I'm doing the underneath, and then I'm actually just gonna this looks so sloppy, you guys, but I grab the section and I just saturate the heck out of it, and then I just brush through it. It does the trick, I promise you. It makes it super blendy, and you can even tell when it's processing like how blendy it looks. There was her little partial, or her mini partial, and then the foils looked so good, you guys. We just left this no root, no tone, just so bright and so pretty. I did do a purple conditioner on her as well, and then look at the root on the extensions. It was so blendy. It looked so good. She was so bright, and those highlights were literally perfect.
Thank you guys for watching yet another free online education video. I'm gonna have new videos weekly, so please subscribe so that you don't miss out. For more blonding tips, follow me on my Instagram at Mains by Micah. Thank you guys for watching and being a part of this community.